So we went ahead and prepared a couple topics that I think would be, well, in my opinion, interesting for you guys to sit here and listen to us babble about. Hopefully there's some good tips that you guys can take away. As we mentioned, we're both music supervisors. We've worked in different medias. I've worked in more scripted and now live TV. Reuben works in trailers, so we have a little bit different perspectives, but also very similar experiences. And hopefully we can, if you guys have questions, please feel free to raise your hands, interrupt, or sound check me. I said don't, but now you can. Whatever you need, just ask away, and hopefully we give some good information. So the first topic that we had prepared is the concept of what makes a song sync-friendly. And sync is short for synchronization, and that's just basically saying putting your picture or putting your song to picture, if that wasn't common knowledge. So I think we're just going to play off each other here. We talked about everything earlier, but
yeah, some gentleman I was speaking with earlier talked about, there was a type of commercial that was using the other brand's songs for their own purposes and kind of like attack ads. And it made me want to talk about how writing for sync, there's always going to be an exception to every rule. If I write a song about something very specific, yes, there could be eventually a sync opportunity for that one song. And your competition, as in how many other songs that are going to work for that, are going to be very small. However, you can also write a song that's super broad, that is just catchy and poppy and has a great energy, and yes, it could have sometimes the lyrics don't even matter. It's just a vibe. It's just kind of about nothing, really, but it's the energy that propels the scene in the trailer or the television show. So one thing you want to do, I would say, is when you write a song, be very clear about what your intent is. Like, yes, you can write a song about a relative that passed away, and it's very, very connected to you and your story and your memories. And that song is for you and anyone else you want to share it with. Or you can write a song going into it knowing that this is about the cold, refreshing drink that you've never had until now, and it's available in stores everywhere. And some people are okay with that, and some people aren't, and that is fine. It's just about being very focused on what you want to do and where you want your song to go, because sadly, or for better or for worse, if you write a song that lands on my desk, I have to ask for instrumentals. I sometimes have to ask for stems of the song, and that my editor is going to reconfigure your song. I'm going to use the tambourine stem from the back end of the song up front to lead into the chorus, and I'm going to chop off this verse. So if you are submitting songs for sync and super tied to those songs emotionally because it's about something really personal to you, you may not like that. So again, be very clear about what you intend to do when writing these songs. And sometimes there's that magical moment where the song you wrote from the bottom of your heart links up to the scene that we need to have music for. And those are those are the best, but they're also very rare.
I think that being proud of what you wrote is, if the music is good, we will hear it. If the music was made for the purpose of making money and you don't love it, we'll hear that too. So
that's true. I can smell it now. When a song lands on my desk, that when I first started, a song would land on my desk, I'm like, oh my god, this is perfect for sync. This is great. I'm pitching it all over the place. And now a song like that will land on my desk and be like, yeah, they obviously wrote this for sync. Not that it's bad, I'm still going to pitch it, but you can just tell. You can just tell. For better or for worse. And as long as you guys as songwriters are okay with, I don't know if it's even selling out. It's just because there's a skill for writing a single.
Yeah.
That is certain. There's absolutely, that is a skill, a learned skill.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, we touched on during the critiques having broad hooks, broad concepts in your lyric writing. And the thing that I tell everybody, and if you were here 3 years ago when I probably said this too, is try and listen to your hook or your chorus, your lyric, whatever you want to stand out, and ask yourself, does this work in 5 places? It doesn't, it's probably not ready for sync. And what I mean by that is, I can't remember whose song, but the one with the chorus, Love Is. Okay, Betsy. So anything with the concept of love used in a positive way, I can love my candy bar, I can love my child, I can love my car, I can use it in a contrasting way where I'm just, life is terrible, and we see this montage of how my character is just hitting rock bottom, but we have this song about love on top of it for some reason. That works. And where else? Love can work anywhere. Your dog. Fine. So love is a really great general concept. If you're using specifics like, unfortunately, brands, as I mentioned, as well as names. So people's names in a chorus, unless Sally is in my picture, and I want to talk literally about Sally, probably shouldn't put Sally in the chorus. Yeah, so lyrics can play a really big part. Oh, another tip. Pronouns like he and she are good, but better is they, because now it works, it's gender neutral. So it doesn't dictate my scene and knock out your song for specific uses like that. Yeah, so we brought a couple song examples that we thought would be good to show you guys as well. We talked about how whistles, claps, oohs, yeah, things like these are all insanely general because they are not tied to anything. So a lot of songs that are placed in, especially ads, big placements, incorporate these elements because they're not dictating the product at all. They just have big energy, they're fun and general. So we brought a couple examples that we want to show so you guys can hear what we're talking about. So the first 2 songs are by a band called Fits and the Tantrums. And
this first song, when it landed on my desk, my boss and I were in the same room and we were just looking at each other like, this is going to be in everything for the next year.
Yeah.
It's just got that infectious energy. It's as general as you can get, really.
Well, even the title is Hand Clap, so I already know what's coming.
Most recently.
Yeah, it's a very new song.
Intro.
Somebody save your soul, 'cause you've been sinning in the city. I know too many troubles, all these lovers got you losing control. You like a drug to me, a luxury, my sugar and gold. I want the good life every good night, you're a how in the hole. 'Cause you don't even know. I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap. Somebody save your soul, 'cause you've been sinning in the city. I know too many troubles, all these lovers got you losing control.
So, this song, tempo, it drives, it's fun,
Exciting.
it's interactive in a way. It's literally, the singer is telling you, I can make your hands clap, and before you know it, you're clapping your hands.
Right.
Yeah. Question.
Is this one that you think was written specifically to sing?
Well, here's the thing. Fits in the Tantrums. I don't know if anyone knows about this band. Okay, so their first album sounds nothing like that. Has a lot of brass, has this solo background singer who's awesome, and they had a reasonable amount of success, and then they signed to a major label, and their second album, their lead hit is the next one we're going to play you, and I can just tell that someone was like, you guys could be huge if you wrote differently. If you just wrote, if you changed, and some people are okay with that, some people aren't, and that's fine. So, yes, I think that song, Hand Clap, was written maybe not even by them, but maybe by a producer who's like, yep, this is our radio single. So maybe not written for sync specifically, but this is a single, and singles get sync. And that's actually, before we play the next song, the catch-22 that I hear all the time in my job is, I need a song that everybody knows that's not expensive.
Yeah.
Those two things don't go together.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you can't always get what you want from Rolling Stones. And it's really expensive. And that's what they're paying for. They know that everyone knows that song, and they want a song that's familiar to tack on to their movie, because, you know, just as a hot single that you hear all around, there's a familiarity. People like that song, so they want to tack it onto their movie too.
Again, it's the psychology aspect of, oh, I like this song, so I like whatever it's attached to. I just have this connotation of, oh, I like these two things.
And by the way, that song, You Can't Always Get What You Want, was recently in a trailer for a movie called Joy. And you think, Rolling Stones, they know what they're doing, right? Yeah. Well, in that trailer, they had to augment that song. They had to basically say, yeah, Rolling Stones, you did okay, but you're not doing exactly what we need for this trailer. And my point is, if marketing people need to change a song by the Rolling Stones for marketing purposes, like, you have to know that just because your song is a good song doesn't mean that it's perfect or works for marketing. So if your songs aren't getting sync, or you feel like, oh man, your songs could very well be excellent. They're just not doing what they need to for this specific campaign, for this product, or whatever.
On that note.
Yeah.
So back to Fits in the Tantrum, we chose this song, which I think was their first explosive idea of, oh my gosh, we can make a lot of money with placements by using these kind of elements. So the first one had hand claps. This one has whistles, which are very popular.
Again, an intro. Let's set the scene, either through dialogue or someone looking very steely-eyed. Okay, I know what I need to do.
Ooh, crazy is what they think about me. Ain't gonna stop till they tell me so.
And this song is probably between 3 to 5 BPM away from their other one. It is in that pocket.
It keeps trying to quit all the lines they throw. I walk to the sound of my own drum. It goes, they go, we go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, here we go. Feel it in my soul. When the need is so high. You gotta need it. Your body takes control. When the need.
So he's saying, oh, here we go. I need it in my soul. What? I don't know. Whatever you're selling.
Yeah, I need it.
I need it. I need that car. I need that drink. I need that person's love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Or like we were saying earlier too, without the lyrics, it's just fun whistling. It could be someone's running on their morning jog in the scene. That's what I hear. With their headphones, it's just up. It's just happy. It's positive. It's driving.
if you haven't heard that song before,
I have, it's all over.
it's
Yeah, now you'll hear it every
you will between now and a week from now. It is
Yeah.
just, you will, if you watch TV, it is inescapable. For better or for worse.
Yeah. And then the third song we picked doesn't have a musical element as much as a lyric, and the lyric is Woohoo. And I have a feeling you'll recognize this song, it's a little bit older, but this was everywhere. Same thing, big driving feel, exciting, gets you feel like you can get going.
A
And,
little bit edgier.
but it doesn't say really anything.
No.
But it's great.
lyrics are literally nonsensical after that. You know, I got my head shaved by a jumbo jet. Okay. You know, no one's paying attention to that in marketing because all we hear is that. And all three of those songs have that intro, right?
Yeah, right away, we know what the song's about.
And then it explodes into a lyric, or I mean that woohoo. People still want that. We need something like Song 2 by Blur. It's just great energy. It's about nothing. It's just a vibe. It's a feel.
Yeah.
And those are the songs that open you up to more sync opportunities. Like, I would love to know how they wrote that song, like lyrically. I'm not saying there isn't brilliance in it, but it's like, where they just like, let's just write a song about nothing.
Let's just write words.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it works.
But it works.
I'm sorry for the show about nothing.
Yeah.
So I think Sing Friendly, I think that's kind of it. Broad, have purpose in why you're writing your songs. I know a songwriter producer very well who has a hard time with that concept. So it sounds easy because you want to write something you love. You want to have your art, you want to have your voice heard, which of course, why wouldn't you? But you also want to make money. So it's a tough, I don't know if it's a lesson, but it's a tough concept too.
It's a balance.
Yeah, it's a balance. And it doesn't have to be strictly one or the other. I think the bottom line is just write something you love. Something you're really proud of.
And, you know, again, trailers are different than music supervision for a television show, being in the television show, you know. I guess here's an exercise for you guys. If you write a song and you're thinking, man, I think this is a good song, or, you know, for sync, you know, my first question to you would be, where have you heard a song like that before? In sync, you know? And if you can't answer that question, that's not a problem, but it's something to ask yourself. It's like, have I heard a song like this song that I just wrote, with this rhythm, with this lyrical vibe, with this energy? Have I heard it before in sync? Where? I heard it in a cell phone commercial. Okay, that's great. You know, and then you dissect that cell phone commercial. What about that song in that cell phone commercial made it work? Was it about talking? Was it about family? Those are quite, and if you haven't heard a song like that, that doesn't mean that your song isn't great. It doesn't mean that it's not syncable. It's all about chances. Mm-hmm. You know, are you making your song have as broad, as many chances as possible?
I think tacking on to that, a common mistake that I've heard from songwriters is, I've got this song about zombies. It's great for The Walking Dead. And then I listen and it's got a flamenco vibe. Okay, Walking Dead doesn't use flamenco. It may be about zombies, but it's not going to work. So I think you may think your lyrics are perfect for a certain project because they're so literal to what the project might be about. But sometimes it's still just not right. So it's just...
I remember when I was working on... or I wasn't even working on a movie, but I got a submission from someone that said, I think this would be perfect for the next Hunger Games movie. It's like, okay, so I listened to the track, and the lyrics were literally talking about tributes and, like, way too specific, like, way too on the nose. You know, you have to be a little subtle about, you know, you can't, this song's called Katniss, you know. Okay, look, you know, the audience is going to hear that and be like, a little bit on the nose.
Well, and I think that something like that is an example of, if you're writing specifically for the project, I don't really love this song, I'm never going to play it for anybody, I just want it to get placed. And you know, we hear that and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, I think that's kind of part of that topic.
Do you have any questions on
Yeah.
anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as the style of things that they put into songs that are so popular these days, one thing I noticed on pop songs, so many of the songs that you hear on the radio have the emphasis on the beat on the 2 and the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun. I mean, crash, clap, it's a combination of drums, and it's just really loud. And I wonder, is that now also a part of music that is synced, or is that specific to very pop music right now?
Well, I would say that if what you're describing, the boom clap, there's like, the word I hear a lot in my job is it's gotta have swagger, you know, and that slow stompy that sells. You listen to commercials, that is all over the place. Now, on the other hand, I don't know if you know, like those fits and the tantrum songs we played, those are 4 to the floor rhythms. Those drive. Those are in the BPMs of like 130 to 140. And they just go, because it's that 4 to the floor rhythm. You listen, I mean, Katy Perry Fireworks, that is a 4 on the floor beat. Those are very popular right now.
Yeah, what's the beat on hers? What's the timing on
I think 138.
Probably.
BPM?
A firework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I only know that because I used to be a wedding DJ. Yeah, it's like I think it's 135, 138.
Yeah. Even in my show, I was talking with a couple of you about how the talks music works. Unfortunately, CBS is very smart and they own a lot of music, so I've used a lot of their music. But all the music that I pull for the show is between, I would say 90% of the music I'm using is between maybe 125 to 135 BPM. And that's kind of the vibe we want. We want people happy and excited, and they're going to keep watching, so let's see what happens next. And I think that's naturally what that tempo brings you. I'm thinking about the fits and the tantrum songs, and there is an emphasis on the 2 and the 4, just kind of playing in my head. So it must just be a pop element, but also an exciting, something that is naturally exciting to us. Yeah.
You mentioned instrumentals and stems. You just want the instrumental first, and then you would ask for the stem?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you're submitting songs, we don't need stems right off the bat. You can say, here's a link to our main track and instrumental. Parentheses, stems are available, of course.
What if you don't have them? My recordings were pre-Pro Tools days, and getting stems would be maybe impossible. Is
That, you know,
a deal breaker?
Not all the time, no. I hardly ever. But, if the song is good and my editor is like, oh man, do you have stems on that track? No, they don't exist. Okay, I'll try to make it work. But editors nowadays it's very competitive. They all want to do their own thing. They all want to make it their own. And one way that they can do that is through stems of the song. And quite honestly, a lot of editors don't even know what they're asking for when they say stems. They're looking at stems and like, do you really need the isolated, cowbell on this track?
Find what stem is.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So stem, essentially when you record your song with Pro Tools, in this instance, you will have for example, your kick drum on one track, and then you'll have your snare drum on another track, your vocals, your guitar, so it's all separated. So if Reuben's editor says, I need so much more of that guitar so I can make it louder at this point, the only stem that Reuben would need to obtain is the guitar, literally the guitar sounds from that song, which can be pulled out of Pro Tools. Does that make sense? You can say no.
So you can take,
Okay, so like if you're recording, if you're mixing your track, or your song.
Right, like that, let me just, Love It Is, I own all the tracks.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's on a hard drive, it's Pro Tools.
Great.
So I could go in and edit just one instrument for you on one thing.
That's
Or
exactly.
export it out.
Yeah,
For it.
yeah,
Okay, so I don't have the Pro Tools, so I have to use it, okay.
yeah. But those are your stems, the individual isolated tracks.
Stems or tracks?
Yeah, yes. Yes?
Question about exclusivity in syncs. Like if you place a song in a sync, do certain companies require it to be not licensed for a year or how?
Yes, and that's completely up to the client. Like, they will, if, I don't know, but the first thing that came to mind is, I think that Bob Seger, Like a Rock, that was for Chevy or,
Something,
yeah, I mean, I think that was exclusive to that campaign for years. I never heard, and so much so that Bob Seger doesn't license his music anymore. He had nothing. But that's not up to me. I get emails from music libraries all the time saying that this such and such a track has been made exclusive by Paramount up until December 31st, 2017. So don't pitch it. Like, okay.
But that's not every media.
That's not every media.
That's trailers specific, and probably ads too.
Right, yeah, I think it depends on the client.
Yeah.
Whoever, they can Ford can talk about Seeger and say, we want this song exclusive, and we're going to pay you 4 times the amount because of it, because we're taking away all of your other opportunities. Okay, that's fine. They can either say yes or no.
It depends. Every scenario is negotiable. Every scenario is different. You can say yes or no to every situation, depending on how much of your rights you own. For my experiences, I don't think I've ever licensed a song exclusively for a project, and that's in TV and film, so it's not so important that that song punctuates my project. And yeah, if someone comes to me and says we want this song exclusively, it'll probably come with a lot more money because you don't have opportunity to exploit it anywhere else. Does that answer your question?
Haven't the finances to pay for sync gone way down lately? I mean, I remember back in the 90s, maybe, when things like American Made, because you were in Nashville at the time, they made a couple $100,000 a piece syncing a hit song with a made national commercial.
Yeah.
Is that gone down too, or is it being...
Ads and video games, I don't know the budgets for trailers, you can speak more on that, but are the highest paying things. Reality TV is the lowest paying. However, that's not saying there isn't money, but it's my own personal thing. I really have a problem with a lot of networks now, especially in reality TV, not paying license fees at all. And that's up to the artist if the exposure is worth it. I don't personally think it's worth devaluing your music like that. But that's me. It's up to everybody what they want to do with their music. But yeah, sync fees unfortunately have gone way down in the past 15 years. But every media is different. So like I said, reality TV is probably the lowest. Then scripted television. I think I mentioned NCIS earlier. NCIS has a little bit healthier of a budget because they're a popular show. Primetime shows will pay a little bit more, and then films are even more, and so on and so forth. So there's different fees for every different kind of use.
Trailers are still expensive. Yeah, I mean, if your name's Kanye West and they use your track in the back end, you're getting paid a lot of money.
What if your name's not Kanye West?
Less money, but if you're an unknown artist who happens to have a song that lands in the back end of a Tom Cruise movie trailer, it's at least $50,000.
Yeah.
I've read that a trailer, as far as its structure is concerned, should have a kind of story arc, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Is that typical? Is that required, or how does that work?
Did everyone hear the question?
No.
Okay. Do trailers have a typical 3 story arc, beginning, middle, and end? Generally, yes. And then you'll see a trailer that doesn't do that, and it'll blow your mind. And and then everyone's like, "Oh, we're doing that." We're structure out the window. At the end of the day, most trailers, we need to tell a story. We need to set up these characters. We need to introduce a problem, and then we need to introduce the great time that we're going to have finding the solution. Or we're just going to scare the crap out of you, through a horror trailer or something like that. But yes, and the more trailers you watch, I'm sure you'll begin to identify, even just timing. Okay, the first 30 seconds does this, and then we'll have Act 2 middle where we'll pose some questions, and then at the, 145 mark, that's when the back end cue kicks in, and we'll just ride it all the way to the end. but there's always exceptions. But yeah, trailers generally, a full-length trailer has to tell a story, 3 acts.
Are they like a 3-minute?
2:30.
2:30.
2:30 is your standard trailer length. And every movie studio, I believe, gets one exception every year where they can make a trailer as long as they want. Yeah. I don't know how long as they want, but 3 or 4 minutes.
20 minutes. Yeah.
My question is, when you guys say, when I get a song put on my desk, these days, obviously, you've got the CD, but what about MP3 submissions?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will
Well, let's
address.
use that as a segue. The next topic was how to prep your music for submission.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, so good job. Thank you. And to jump into your question immediately, I prefer MP3s to CDs because I don't lose them. I won't scratch them. They won't get mixed up with all the other stuff on my desk. I just like having it clean and organized in my iTunes. Things I need to listen to, things I've listened to, things that I've organized. And in saying that, every music supervisor is different. Some do like hard drives, some like CDs, some like MP3s. The way that I prefer to get submissions is, like I said, through email. I think across the board, never send email attachments. If you're the reason that a music supervisor's email box is bogged up and they can't get their work emails, that's so bad. So email attachments are out. The best way that I like to receive music is through a link, through like a Box.com or Dropbox, something where I can stream as well as download. And the reason I say that is I want to be able to preview your music quickly and say, okay, I like this song, and then I can download them, throw them in my Avid or whatever platform I'm using that day, and I have the music available right away. But if I don't want to download it and I just want to preview it, I have that ability too. So streaming and download capability in one link that's the holy grail.
My computer doesn't even have a CD-ROM drive.
Wow.
And that's the computer that I was given when I got the job. It's a Mac Mini. There's no CD-ROM drive. So, do I have a music coordinator that has a CD-ROM drive? Yes. So when I get a CD, I can either find a time to find my music coordinator, say, hey, import this CD when you can, because he's busy. And then when he gets to it, he will import it to the location that I know where it goes. Or I can get an email saying, here's my music, or here's a link to my music. One of those options is one equal. It's much easier. Have it ready.
So you will maybe eventually.
Yes, but sometimes not. If we're asking you for waves and AFFs, you're good. You should feel pretty good about it, because that means it's going to finish somewhere, or But in terms of just your opening salvo, check out my music. Make sure 320 MP3 is fine, and they sound pretty good for what we need to do.
What about, SoundCloud?
Great.
Yeah, SoundCloud's great.
Yes.
Like, here's my SoundCloud link.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's perfect. Very
I
easy
was
to use.
just telling someone earlier about how I found a band on SoundCloud, and they ended up getting signed to a publishing, conglomerate, and they have SoundCloud's great. I can understand why some musicians don't want to put their music online. They don't want to have it, online. I get it.
I don't understand that. I don't get
Well,
it.
here's the thing. I get it. If you don't want sync and you just want to be a musician and gig and that's great, and obviously you don't want people stealing your ideas and your lyrics, your melodies, all that stuff, great. But if you want to do this as your job to get sync, you have to make your songs available to us. It's just, this is the bottom line. And if you have a SoundCloud and it's non-downloadable, okay, that's fine. But make sure that on your SoundCloud there's an email address that I can reach out to you, and that you have those ready. You have those assets ready. Instrumentals. Always have an instrumental. If you don't have stems ready, that's fine. But at the very least, you need to have instrumentals with all your stuff.
Yeah.
You can have an MP3.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if I need them, if I need higher quality than that, I will ask.
Piggybacking off what you said, you told me earlier that Reuben had reached out for some music, and someone said, "Yeah, here, go to the site and you can download it," and he had to pay for it. Well,
What? Okay. Here's the thing.
yeah,
I don't mind paying for music. But if it's like, okay, how do I phrase this? I'll tell the other story about. So there's this band that I found online, and at my job, I produce this concert series where I invite bands in to play for the entire company, all of my editors, in hopes that they like the music and they think about, oh, I'm going to use this in my trailer. Pretty good opportunity, I think. Right? Okay. So I reach out to this band through their Facebook, and I say, hey, you're in LA, I'm in LA, I like your music, I think it'd be great. You want to come in and play? And they responded, thanks so much for enjoying our music. What does the gig pay? And I'll be honest, I didn't write them back because they didn't take the time to research Buddha Jones. They didn't take the time to see that Buddha Jones is an award-winning company that makes movie trailers across the globe, and that I was offering them a tremendous opportunity. That Andra Day, Andy Grammer, artists who I've invited to play. So when I reach out and say, oh man, do you have any more music? Yeah, here's a link. It's $4.95. It's not about $4.95. It's about, okay, now I have to create an account for this
credit card out.
rinky-dink purchase system, which I have to go find the company credit card in HR.
Yes.
Or you can send me your 5 songs. So, and this is not me saying I don't value music. I buy music through my company all the time. But if you're a small band and your stuff isn't on iTunes, where I literally cannot buy it easily through the system in which my company is set up, that's a problem.
I think we might have talked about this earlier, but another important piece of submitting when you're ready, when you've got your contact, you've got line of communication going, and you say, okay, here's my music, whoever, music supervisor, music editor, make sure that what you're sending is ready to go. Not a demo, not, hey, I've got this version that's going to be cut in a month, because we'll forget. Just send us when it's the best quality that you have. And people ask me, what does broadcast quality mean? Well, there are specs, but for me, I'm on TV and broadcast quality doesn't have to be that high. So whatever you think is done, whatever, if it's even not mixed, if it's not mastered, or if it is, whatever you are most proud of, that's the version I want to hear.
I concur, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, what's next?
Or
yeah. Question, yeah, sorry.
That's all right. Are, let's say, vocals in a single instrument acceptable rather than a whole band situation, or?
It depends on what we're dealing with.
I see.
Yeah. My question to you: have you recently or seen a trailer where the back end is a vocalist and a guitar?
I don't watch many.
Okay, that's fine. That's an acceptable answer as well. If trailers are something you want to get into,
Right.
watch a lot of trailers.
How do you find them? Where are they?
Oh, okay. Apple. If anyone with an Apple TV, there is an Apple trailer thing.
They're on YouTube too.
That
Yeah.
YouTube, movie trailers on YouTube all over the place. There's Apple website, even has a trailers.apple.com or something like that. They're just everywhere.
Yeah.
I think you have a question.
Yeah, so you guys, as music supervisors, you're specifically looking for things for a particular project
Yes.
at every given moment that you're working. So how do we find out what you guys are looking for and have access to getting something on your desk?
Well, great question.
The next topic is how to get your music heard. So you guys are excellent seguers here.
So yes, we're working on a lot of projects at once, and it is in the public knowledge. Movie release schedules, what's coming out next year, what IMDb. I mean, I'm not saying that people should go out and write a song called the Avengers Infinity War, but just because that's coming out in 2 years. But there are some types of movies that just are always going to, romantic comedies, boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back. They're not going to stop making those movies. And then more specific projects are in the public knowledge of what's coming out. Read trade magazines. Oh, this book series just got optioned for to be a big budget movie. Or so and so. Some company just bought this startup company to create this new product. They're going to have to advertise that product. What's a good way to write a song to help advertise that product? The product is called Slingbox. Don't write, I got my Slingbox. Or maybe you do, I mean, yes.
Long time ago, they used ad people and medicine people. Do they still use ad people for direction of things like trailers or ads for music? I mean, or is it all music supervisors now? Or are music supervisors connected with the ad companies, or are they independent?
Well, Blue Jones is an advertising company. Like trailers are advertisements. That is an advertisement for your movie. The 30-second TV spots. That is an ad. And I know that there are still huge ad companies where they work for different mediums. Carl's Jr. Their TV campaign, or Speed Stick, or whatever. And they still, yes, and they have music departments. I don't know that they have music supervisors. Maybe they do.
I think it's a combination of both. I think the answer is yes and no. I know of one of my good friends does the Apple campaigns, but she doesn't work for Apple. She also does this, that, and the other thing. So Apple doesn't have a music supervisor. So there are, I think there are in-house music supervisors like Reuben, and then there are also music supervisors who are hired per campaign. Yeah.
You're looking at trailers, since you do a broad range, I would imagine all the styles change significantly, music styles. But on the show, there's typically a sound. I'm looking at tune find.
Oh yeah.
Do you recommend that to do, like you said, do your research, be prepared? Would it be more applicable to you versus for the movie trip?
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with tune find. Is
It's
similar to
essentially you
Taxi?
can look up any TV show,
Oh.
and it tells you every
right.
song on every TV show, and most of them have links to play the song. So
Right.
you can actually see exactly the style of that show.
Yes.
Tune find.
You having said that reminded me, when I was in music publishing, I was on the flip side, I was trying to get our music into film and TV. We did use Tune Find, and it is a great way to, like the Walking Dead example I had earlier. Okay, I can see all the music that was used in Walking Dead and research those songs and get the understanding of what kind of vibe the music supervisor likes and uses. So I think that's a great resource, Tune Find, yeah.
Well, what about on the trailer side for submitting to? So if we were submitting to the top, Tune Find might help us decide what you're looking for. But trailers, since you do a wide range, what would you recommend?
Well, I think that the things you can do to help your cause are to watch, if you want trailers, watch trailers. And I mean, you will notice similarities for every Fox comedy. They license the same type of music. DreamWorks animated comedies, they tend to license the same type of stuff. Horror trailers, I mean, I'm sure you guys are, dark covers are everywhere. Covers of songs done in a brooding, slow manner.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. And that's another way for you guys to, if you guys are not just songwriters, performers, and you think you have a fresh take on a song that you think is, that you've heard before, or that you think, oh, that lyric is great for a trailer,
How do we handle the rights for that?
That is Well, thank you.
That's a lot in my world. What rights specifically are
Well,
you?
you just said like do a cover of a song,
Uh-huh.
but you're putting out somebody else's songs. You've got the writers, and I don't know who else might want a chunk of whatever you're doing. So how do you handle that? Making sure, because you don't want it if we can't show that we've got clearances.
Well, yeah, I guess it would be different for both of us. For any songwriter writing a cover, you have to have a mechanical license, and that's easy enough to obtain. After that, it's a little bit out of your hands, I suppose. You can give your permission to use your recording, but then it's up to the publishers, songwriters, whoever's approving on that side, if they want to give their approval as well. So I don't think there's any harm in submitting it as long as you have all of your due diligence finished.
And who does the other half? Do you do the other half?
So when I'm working on a project film or what have you, yes, I sometimes do act as music clearance in addition to music supervisor, and that's, so if you had submitted a cover of whatever song, I would have to do my research then, make sure that I am clearing through the correct publishers that may not include you, and then also obtaining your permission to use your recording. Does that answer the question?
Oh, yes.
Good.
You had a question too earlier.
I'm so new to thinking.
No, ask away.
So I've been hearing, what do you think about like submission services? And I keep hearing someone mention this taxi. Exactly. And you know they're going to ask for a chunk of change for you to invest in it. So do you guys ever use anything like that is that a trustworthy service for you all?
Another one of my famous music supervision mottos is what do you value more, your time or your money? And that by that I mean, do you want to reach out to 1,000 people and send your music constantly, or do you want to pay somebody else to do that for you? And that's up to you as the songwriter. Taxi as a service itself, I've heard mixed reviews. I used it when I was at the publishing company that I worked at, when I was acting a little more as A&R trying to find artists. I don't think I've ever synced anything from Taxi.
I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is. It's not dissing them. I
Yeah. I don't think they would make sense for your video. Does everybody know what Taxi is? A couple services like that. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Just following up on an earlier comment, talking about doing a cover of a song with a new arrangement. I've heard some horror stories about lack of recognition for arrangements. An example, Jonathan Colton did a really great bluegrass arrangement of the song Baby Got Back. It's hilarious. And Glee, the show, liked it so much that they had their people do the exact same arrangement, and they never paid them, they never recognized them. Exactly.
You can't copyright arrangement.
That it doesn't seem
Copyright
right. Because arrangements, you can have publishing rights over arrangements and be credited as an arranger. And if we did that exact version, they wouldn't have had to obtain those rights. So I'm not sure. That sounds strange.
It went through court. Now, he sued them. Glee won. But if you listen to the two arrangements, it really is the same arrangement.
Wow. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Is that similar to the suit right now with Led Zeppelin and Spirit, the Randy, California lawsuit? Similar, where they say they toured with them in '69 and took Stairway to Heaven basically was from chords, not melody, but an arrangement of a song that they had done on the road with them. And they saying that Led Zeppelin took that arrangement, and the judge has allowed the lawsuit to move forward, even though you can't copyright arrangements. But I guess if it's so stark that it's instantly recognizable, maybe they're allowing it.
I think Led Zeppelin's thinking that is that the arrangement was something really old that's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. So that if both of them write two songs that sound the same, it's from an arrangement that goes back hundreds of years.
Yeah, these are questions
Those are
for musicologists that I'm not qualified to answer.
Well, it's just like a primary rule, it's just like you copyright a song, copyright arrangement, because I'm just living over that same issue, because you did a version of Aaron Coulton's Fanfare for the Common Man. But like I said, someone was interested in using their version, but then they got, administrative discussions on it. And then they just found somebody to do something pretty similar. Say, hey, it sounds like what I did, but just like they got the permission from Aaron Coulton on the state. So Aaron Coulton gets, paid.
Yeah.
Someone did an arrangement.
You know, and then we get in the argument of like, well, there's parallel thinking. You know, two people can't have the same idea. I'm not saying that that's what happened with Jonathan Coulton, who I think is brilliant. You know, but it's. I feel like we're getting off topic.
That's a good conversation.
You got a question?
Yeah, I just was wondering about like cold calling music supervisors. That feels like an awkward thing to do as a songwriter. I don't want to like bombard people because I know you guys are all obviously always busy.
When you say cold calling, you mean literally call me on the phone?
No, I mean like emails or and stuff like that because it seems like that kind of thing can get lost in a big chain of emails. So what's like the best way through people? Like what's the most
Which actually goes to my what I was saying.
Okay, right. Okay,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Well, there are tons of opportunities, especially in Los Angeles, to, I know it's an evil word, but network with basic supervisors. There are tons of events. There are tons of bands where we will be there watching, hanging out, meeting people.
Like here.
Like here, like Songsalive. There's a great one we were talking about this morning, Reuben and I, called Honeypot Unlimited.
And was it last show at the Mint?
Yeah, at the Mint. John Anderson puts it on, and it's this radio show. They bring in artists, and they play, and they talk, and so really it's evolved through the years, but that's one I highly recommend. And my favorite suggestion, do you want to talk on that?
Just don't call me on the phone.
Yeah.
That is not the move. Email. Yes, I get a lot of emails. Everyone gets a lot of emails. And I wish there was some like better answer to say that like I can't sit here and say I listen to every submission that I get. It is mathematically impossible for me to listen to every song from everyone that I get. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So being persistent, not being pushed. Oh my gosh, I've gotten some emails. You haven't responded to my email. I would really I don't know who you are. I just got sent 13 albums from Warner Music, whom I do have a relationship that I need to get through, and I'm gonna get sent more albums tomorrow. So it's tough. I'm not saying it isn't. It's just
Is it like a cover letter approach, like, hi Reuben, I met you at Songsalive and you expressed an interest in my material, and that type of thing where you can focus in on some sort of, oh yeah, okay, I might remember this person, but I remember being there and I might have said something.
I mean, that works. And also if you're emailing, which I think is the preferred method rather than phone call, hi Reuben, my name is so-and-so. I am a singer-songwriter. Here is a link to a track about overcoming a problem, or a duel, things that I deal with every day. A versus B. Okay, if I read that in an email, like, oh, I want to listen to that. So maybe give a real quick synopsis of what you're giving me. Not just check out my music.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's country. I don't know if it's calypso.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think the more targeted you can make your submission, and don't send me links to 50 albums. Say, hey, here's one track that I think you might like.
Yeah.
I think that is a great approach. And make it the track that you think not only sounds finished, but do your research, know who you're sending to. Don't send me a track that is great for, reality TV, because I don't work in reality TV.
Yeah, I think the key in both what you asked and what we talked about is just having some kind of relationship, because I do. I have a LinkedIn, I have IMDb, Facebook, whatever, and I get messages from songwriters through every avenue possible, even phone calls. And if I don't know you, I mean, I just, like Reuben said, I can't, I wish I could, so wish I could. I mean, everything here I'm going to listen to because I know you all now. But if I didn't, and I got a Facebook message, which is like my least favorite way to be communicated with, I'm probably not going to listen. And so I think having a relationship, even if it's small, we met at wherever. Oh, okay, this is someone I know, and something I want to listen to because they're familiar to me. That's the best way to get through to us. As well as a tip that I like to offer, because I've been this person, is don't go to Reuben, go to his assistant. Because no one goes to them, and they're the gatekeepers, and they want to be flattered. So take them to coffee, and they will feel so important, and they will love you and your music.
And what's your assistant's name?
Getting to work on Monday. Reuben, I have 4,000 emails. You have anything to do with that?
Yeah. But I've been in that position where I'm the music coordinator or assistant, and when someone reaches out to me and says, hey, I know you work with so-and-so, I'm sure you are busy, but I'd love to take you to coffee and show you my music. That is so flattering, and I feel so important and valued.
It's true. When I first started at Buddha Jones as a music coordinator, I remember the first event I went to, I was invited by Brittany Caratelli, by Island Def Jam. We're still friends. I will absolutely never forget her. You know, that's just, she's the first person to invite me, the new guy, to a showcase. Like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. When I was a music coordinator, I worked for Julia Michels, who's a big music supervisor, and part of my job was every week I had to make her a CD, like a physical CD, so she could put it in her car and listen to all the new music that I had found that week. So I was literally the gatekeeper to, and those were the films, the Sex and the City and these big franchises. So I don't know if that's a common tip, but I think it's really valuable to do your research and find assistants, because they will talk all day. They would be happy to. Oh, what else? Still enjoying these topics. We have, okay, what kinds of sync licensing opportunities are out there? So, obviously, trailer, TV, film, video game, ads. And we already kind of talked about the thing I wanted to say in that topic was there are opportunities within signing music to a publishing company. And again, it's, do you value your ownership and your money, or do you value your time and someone else doing the networking for you? And there's no right or wrong to either one. It's totally up to you and what you prefer. So I think going through publishers has some value. There are also companies like, you were naming them earlier, Zinc, Hitcher. Oh yeah, Hitcher. And they are specifically for pitching music. They don't take your publishing. They take Hitcher and Zinc. There are a few. You can find them pretty easily.
I think they own some publishing on some.
They do?
On sometimes. Sometimes they just represent masters. Sometimes they do represent.
Well, then I'm sure there are a variety of different.
Yeah, everything's negotiable.
Was that two names you mentioned there?
Yeah, two different companies.
ZYNC. Zinc.
ZYNC?
Yeah.
Zinc, and then another company called Hitcher.
Yeah.
And I was saying how I found a band on SoundCloud. That was awesome. And then 3 months later, I got an email from Hitcher saying, hey, check out our new band. It was this band that I found on SoundCloud. So those companies, they are always looking for new, good music.
Is that Pitcher or Hitcher?
With an
H.
Yeah.
Opportunities. You know, there are big music company libraries like APM. Has anyone heard of APM?
I use APM. They're my go-to. That's my number one stop.
Now, APM has a library of 600,000 tracks, and they represent rock and trailer music and everything, world music. And it seems to me that they find music, or they hire writers to write for them, and they pay them a flat fee, and then they own those masters and keep them as a part of their music library, which is another opportunity for songwriters because library music, a lot of networks use blanket deals with companies like APM, and they pay them a flat fee every year and say, okay, we get to use all of your APM library, and we're paying you so amount of money every year or something like that. So they're always looking for new music. They're always looking for people who can make all different styles of music. I honestly don't know how someone gets to work for or submit their music to APM, but it's definitely worth checking out APM's website or other big music libraries like Killer Tracks or 5 Alarm Music, Extreme Music.
Yeah, all the companies. Any questions on that?
Yeah, I was at a conference where they had the panel of publishing companies. Somebody asked, how do we get to you? And the answer was, we don't. We get to you. And they were saying that, and these are the big companies.
Yeah.
But they were saying that for them, they don't want somebody that's trying to get a career going. They want somebody who's already been successful. And once you are, they will then contact you. So that's why I was curious, the routes you went, what are the routes for people like us that may have promise, but they're not going to polish it because we haven't had any big success?
That doesn't matter to me. I don't care what your social media following is. All I want to know is you have good music. That's it.
Good music that's easily licensed.
Yeah.
So
all your ducks are in a row.
So the music publisher route, rather than the music, the music supervisor route, rather than the music publisher route, is what you're saying?
I don't know a lot of public. I see what you're saying in terms of it's like agents who don't want to sign unknown actors. They want stars because they're gonna get more money. I get that, but it seems to me to be the opposite in music. It's like, no, we want the bands that no one knows. We want to be on the cutting edge. We want to get these guys before anyone else does.
Well, these are as bands, you have to have songwriters. Find your
I mean, there are always those new bands that need help songwriting. I don't know. I really can't speak to that.
Well, there's also different options for publishers. There are more boutique publishers. I know I worked at Heavy Hitters Music, and they're very small, intimate catalog. They will work directly over the phone with their songwriters. So there are someone, I can't remember, Stephen, I can't remember. Someone mentioned Imaginary Friends earlier. It's another smaller, more intimate publisher. So there are different kinds of. I wouldn't suggest anybody in this room go to Warner Chappell and sign a publishing deal because your music may be amazing and they may agree, but you're going to get lost in their shuffle. So there are different kinds of publishing opportunities. Definitely. Anything? Yeah.
Does it help to include in the email that the track you're submitting is ASCAP or BMI?
No. Not at all.
I mean,
as long as it is registered.
As long as it's registered. So the fact that it is, yes, one over the other doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the fact that it's, like I said, you have all your ducks in a row. If I send a cue sheet to Warner Brothers and their clearance person can easily find out the information on the songwriting, the publishing through BMI or ASCAP, that's great.
So it could be helpful to include that information so the music supervisor knows, oh, this track is registered.
Yes. But if I see BMI as opposed to ASCAP, I'm not going to be like, oh God, BMI.
Yeah. Okay, so licensing is everything, obviously. We have to have our ability to give you a license if you wanted to use our music. On some of the songs that I have done in master quality, they're co-written with somebody that is signed with Universal. Is it an issue to have, since I can't speak for Universal, I thought, in one case I know I can sign away the rights to the recording, which I essentially did, got a license from my co-writer's company, but can I pitch those?
That depends on your deal. I
have my own publishing company. Their part of the publishing is with you.
So, I mean, you can pitch them, and when they can deny license, or they can...
Why would they?
I get denied
a
all the
billion
time.
reasons,
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they don't like the show that you pitched it for.
Maybe we're not
they don't
offering
like.
enough money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would, if you have songs that are co-written or both, with people, then just be on terms with them. Like, okay, just let them know what you're doing with their music.
Well, other than the Universal situation, I have written agreements to have total control of picture.
Okay, and there you go.
But I do have to worry about the Universal then, okay.
Yeah. Which on our end we would take care of. We would handle any. And if I have a relationship with you and want to license a song, and I say, hey, Universal's not working with me here, maybe you can get involved or something. If there's an open line of communication with whoever's licensing the song, if it gets to that point where I really want this song, I'm going to try and figure out how I can do that.
I don't clear music, which is great. But I had to get a lot of emails and like, one stop, easy clear. And when I see that, I'm like, okay, better. That's good to know. That when I send those cue sheets off to Warner Music, I know that they're not going to have to call 15 writers, and clear all that. But sometimes I have to pitch songs with 15 writers, and I just hope that they can clear it.
However, it is discouraging for me, someone who does have to clear music. Make sure you have all your paperwork. Make sure you get your clearances. Like Reuben said, have all your ducks in a row. However, for me, if I go on ASCAP or BMI and see, that there are literally 10 songwriters and 20 publishers, I'm probably going to use a different song. So that's a lot of time. Stay away from samples if you can. What? Not 10? Okay, I think we covered everything.
Do you mind giving out your contact information?
Oh, I don't mind.
Either an email address?
Yeah, I don't mind at all. I'll tell you my email. How about that?
Okay, and how do you spell your last name?
S-U? S-U, yes. My first name is Kristin, Kristin, .Summers, Summers, at cbs.com. That's my work email.
At what?
CBS?
CBS.
Never heard of them.
Very small company.
CBS.
No, CBS, like the CB is in boy. Yeah.
Just for
You work at CBS?
CBS.
Yeah, well,
My email address is reubens@buddha-jones.com. BUDDHA-JONES.com.
What's that?
I'm sorry? Oh, REUBENS @buddha-jones.com. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.